Hey guys, what's happening? Happy Friday. Johnny Glock here. Listen, there's a few, but one of the frequent questions I get asked is combat or competition. And so, from my experience and my perspective, I'm going to go over that with you to help you make some informed decisions concerning what group is going to be best suited for your application. Um, with that said, the rationale behind it is, when you're in competition, it has nothing to do with safety. The triggers are both ultimately safe. So and they are bench and live tested. That's another thing I always put through these. These are still made 100% by me, by hand, honed, stoned, assembled, tested. I do have guys that work for me, but at the end of the day, it's all done by me. If you see the new triggers have like a stamp on them that has let me get the stamp. I'll show you here. It's basically, it's kind of an inspection stamp. So it says Bench Live and TST, DSS, and FPS. That stands for Trigger Safety Tab, Drop Shelf Safety, and Firing Pin Safety. So all those before they leave here are checked off. So I know, and you know, that they have been quality controlled for those aspects of safety and action. So with that said, the rationale behind the competition is that every time you pull the trigger on the firearm, or every time you present the firearm, you are going to pull the trigger. So whether it's out of retention, off a table, out of a box, whatever, from compressed ready, you absolutely, undoubtedly know that you are going to bang, okay? Because you're never not going to pull and hesitate in competition. Whereas with combat, self-defensive weapons, there's too many variables. There's just too many variables, and with that, the design of it gives you more insurance, more predictability. I wouldn't say more predictability. I would say it just gives you more feedback. It gives you a stouter wall, something to purchase, whereas the competition sometimes lends itself to just a slight bit of, because of the lightness of it especially, to a little bit of a semi-roll, especially on that first shot. And that's the most important, in a self-defense situation. They always say, whoever gets first shot off wins the gunfight. At least that's what every instructor has explained to me. And I do take quite a bit of instruction, which is another thing. It's very important for training, for me to take training so I can get, put as much as that training into these groups. So with that said, that, like I said, there's a stout wall there on that combat, and it's designed for that specific application at a specific average break weight. There's the guy that always texts me or calls me and says, hey, I want a combat trigger, but I want it to be 2 pounds. I don't even know what to say about that. That's a very light trigger, and at the end of the day, I would personally never carry it. I'm sure there's a ton of you out there that wouldn't carry it, but there's that guy that says, oh, I've been doing this and this all my life, and I'm confident carrying that. So I hope that works out for you. For myself, and for most of the guys that I know that carry, right about 3.5 pounds, 4 pounds, 4.5 pounds, that's right about where we kind of sit. And you're not pulling shot, it's not like it's a deterrent to accuracy or speed. So those are the differences right there in your mind. So now people would say, oh, I'm basically competing with this, but I might have it as a nightstand gun or in the truck. Still, if you're defending yourself with it in any way, do yourself the service of getting a combat trigger. A lot of guys that shoot IDPA, I say, hey, get the combat, but then get the striker upgrade, because the firing pin upgrade, the striker upgrade, has a lot to do with the quickness of the break and the reset. And it's more of a competition piece in my mindset, but still everyone says, oh, you undersell it. It's a 100% performance upgrade. It's money in the bank. So if that's what you're after, then this firing pin. Hey Jake, could you come here for a sec? This firing pin upgrade is worth its weight in gold. Since I have this up, I might as well speak to you about the upgrades as well, because that's the other questions I get. I just need you to look there and see if this is coming in. You don't need to move the camera.
I can't see through
You can't see through it. Anyway,
bring it over this way, maybe. Bring it closer. What are you trying to show? The face?
The striker lug face.
Perfect.
Okay,
yeah.
So you see the face right there? That is honed, stoned, high polished, heat treated. That's at about 16,000 grit, which that mixed with the, combined with the proprietary stuff I do with the sear or, the cruciform kickup, when this lets that go and that comes forward, it makes for a incredibly tasty brake feel. So that's the reason I think everyone says, why should I get that? It's like a striker fire. What's the advantages? It's a striker fired weapon. This is 50% of everything in a striker fired gun. So don't forget that if you're on the fence about getting the striker upgrade or not. Second is going to be, Jake, could you come back here, please? The flat face shoe. I have the camera not facing me, so I need Jake to verify some of this stuff for me, my right hand man. The flat face shoe.
Bring it up.
There it is, and I really want to get the laser cut in there.
Bring it down a little bit.
Can you see the laser cut? Let's put it that way.
No, you're a little too close. You gotta turn the actual shoe towards some light. Now bring it back over this way for me. No, I can't.
Anyway,
now you can turn towards the thing.
They're laser. They have a laser thatch on the front of it.
They can see it a little bit there for a minute.
Yeah, so your finger doesn't slide off there, and it's not too aggressive that you're going. Thanks, Jake. You've been a ton of help.
Hey, I actually did get it on there.
I'm trying to keep this under 10 minutes. It's traction. It's traction for your finger, but it's not like you're going to be like, oh, that dang thatch just, it's cutting into my hand. It's nothing like that. It's just a nuance that is awesome. If you are into flat face shoes, this is, in my opinion, the most performance one out there. It is 100%. Well, all the stuff I use is 100% made in the USA. And that's very important to me and very important to Ranger Proof, who I worked on the shoe with. So all this stuff is completely USA stuff. Of course, it's Glocks, so some of it does come from Austria, but I'm not going to. Austria's fine in my eyes, but nonetheless, it's United States stuff manufactured and made here in the United States. So those are the two upgrades. If you're into flat face shoes, this is, in my opinion, like I said, the most performance part on the market, bar none, or bar all, or whatever the saying is. So, bar all. My God, I'm bombing today, aren't I, guys? Jeez. So, anyway, I thought the best way to proceed here was to show you the actual actions in firearms, so you can see for yourself what the differences are. First, we're going to start with the combat. And I do have the flat face in the combat here because I wanted to just give that option. And so you can see that, I'm just making that noise just so you can see. That's a very, 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 very stout wall. You are at a wall right there that is 100% on point, on your finger. You are not going to break this shot unless you absolutely intend. Then from that stout wall, if that's the amount of pre-travel with the fixed face shoe, it's a fixed pre-travel. There's no actual adjustment for it because it's where it can be at a safe minimum. Okay, safety is number one. Even if this would be adjustable, you'd be splitting hairs, especially in a combat weapon. So I've never heard of anyone, and pre-travel, it's another thing about pre-travel. You're not gonna, my shot was slower because I have too much pre-travel. Come on, guys, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't. The reason the pre-travel is taken out to where it is on both of these models is to put your finger in a better position to purchase the shoe. All right, and Glocks have it hanging way out. That's not the most efficient. So the way I've designed it is to take enough pre-travel out that it's sitting in a very efficient position to purchase. Okay, so once you're on the wall, from there, what you want to break it is a quick glass rod break. All right, and now I'm going to reset, and you can see the reset is short as well. So if I'm follow-up shots are very important in a gunfight as well. So as you can see, my finger even came way forward. If I try to utilize, and I'm not holding this gun as if it was my grip, so I'm a little disadvantaged here. But with this being the reset right there, very aggressive. This is breaking at 3.5 pounds. It is a very, very fast, aggressive, defensive trigger with all the insurances and assurances that you need for carry. Okay, a lot of guys carry appendix, and safety is a big issue. I carry appendix. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, if you have something pointing at your kibbles and bits, man, you want it to be safe. So with that said, all these triggers have been, trigger safety tab works, and then we push down back here. You should always be testing these no matter what, and it's 100% purchasing on the drop safety self. That's the second, and the modifications I do to the vertical extension keep you from actually touching the firing pin safety, or the plunger as people call it, so there's no disengagement of that whatsoever. So 100% safe, 100% reliable, 100% predictable, and consistent. That's exactly what you want for a carry weapon. All right, next we will go into the combat. Now, the main difference in the combat, in my opinion, is the first shot, and Glocks really, you can't completely 100% judge a Glock trigger from that first shot, because it has to be safe, and you do have more pre-travel, and you engage the wall, and you have to move a little bit on the wall. Striker fire weapons are predicated on travel, not pressure, okay? Hammer fire, pressure. Striker fire, travel. So the more obtuse the angle is of the connector, the more break travel you are going to get. In a competition trigger, because of the lightness and the obtuse angle of the connector, you're going to have a phenomenon which, after you take up, you can see there's predictability to it, but from here, especially on the first shot, you're going to have a little semi-roll, okay? And you can hear at the end that was a snap break. So even though it has a little semi-roll to it on this first shot, it's still very crisp break. And from there, when the gun resets, this is, see how short that is, and it's aggressive. So that's one of the main differences, I think, between the combat and the competition. The competition has a shorter reset, but then again, the way I designed the combat, it has a very fast reset. You understand? So they kind of end up evening out at the end of the day. So on your second shot from this, it doesn't have that roll. It's just break. You see? And then reset, break. And this is, you can see how fast I can run this, because there's not that much pressure. This is with a 4.5 pound spring, which is 100% primer strike reliable. This is still pulling sub 3. And you can just run and gun these, pow, 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 pow. The grandmaster splits all day long. If you train, you can get that fast. No complaints there. So those are the main differences in between the combat and the competition. Like I said, with this, people love this because there's no sight picture disturbance with that first shot. And a lot of people, as they're punching out, that's kind of like they say, oh, there's a hang up if it's got too much of a wall, or if it's too heavy or something like that. And that's what a lot of guys that are competing are trying to get rid of, at least from the input that I get, which is very important. A lot of people think they bug me when they call me, and I've told that people over and over again, that's the furthest thing away from the truth. I gain all my information and insight based on your experience, the feedback you give me, the experience I have training, the experience my employees and friends have as they train, because all of us do it. It's very, very, very important that we, as a Second Amendment community, make sure that not only we're armed, but we're trained accordingly. So if you do have any questions, you can write them in the comments. I do usually get a bunch of comments about this stuff. I have to apologize. Last time I got some comments because I was dropping some F-bombs, and that's typically not the way I roll. I apologize for the potty mouth on that last one, because I do like kids to be able to watch this stuff. I do have an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old. and they even give me the look like sideways, like, is that necessary, Dad? Which is a sign of good upbringing. Anyway, so these are the two models. The G44 trigger too that I have just come out with. This is like a target training trigger. It's kind of in between both of these. Same amount of pre-travel, but it sits kind of, it can go from 3.5 to 2.5. And I designed it that way because, some guys want to plink and have it as a target gun. And, in my case, and my kids who are, will shoot the living heck out of 22 long rifle. I use it for training, and that way I don't have to spend as much money on 9mm with myself and them included. So it works out. But the triggers in the G44s, and I have nothing but good things to say about those. I run an RMR on it. There's going to be another separate video on the G44s. They're just incredible. I couldn't be more happy with the way they turned out. And, I didn't go right to market with it because I wanted to make sure I had at least 20,000 rounds through these guns before I just said, hey, the G44 trigger's out, like some other... let's just say that's what I did. So basically, that's the video for today. I hope this answers some of your questions, and I hope I haven't been too long-winded as far as the delineation between the combat model and the competition model, and some of the rationale behind the design. That's pretty much it. So, hey man, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you're staying safe and healthy and all that stuff. It's a very trying time right now. So, my that's my wish for everyone. So we're all in this together, remember. The website is www.johnnyglocks.com. The email is johnny@johnnyglocks.com. You can text me or call me at 941-376-4383. If you ever have any questions, or even if you're installing and you need some help and stuff like that, texting is good because I can always just shoot you a video. But anyway, you guys have a great weekend and take care. We'll see you later. Johnny Glock.